Welcome to CN Movies, the show where we review movies but from a Christian's perspective. I am the filmmaker.
And I am his wife. I watch movies.
Yes, you do. And today we're actually reviewing a legitimate Christian movie. Not a Christian movie.
That's questionable.
Well, it's not a movie based on a Christian book like Chronicles of Narnia. It's not Harry Potter, aka the Devil's Spawn. It's a movie actually made for Christians. Whether you think it's the better, yes. Whether you think it's Passion of the Christ level or not, it's not the point. And believe me, it was released in 2014. It was direct to Blu-ray DVD. It didn't go in theaters. You could like stream it and stuff. That's how I saw it the first time. And it was released by Riot Studios, who has made a couple of actually really good documentaries. One Nation Under God and Beware of Christians. Two really good documentaries. I suggest you check them out. They used to be on Netflix. I don't know if they are right now. But either way, check them out. Borrow them. Watch it somehow. They're good. But they released this movie. It's the first narrative film. And let's get into this thing.
If the dessert is part of the meal, it's probably already been prayed for. If the dessert is the meal, best bet's to pray for it.
The first category is story. Smart, handsome, and charming. There's no one who could say no to college senior Sam. When did that, anyways? But when a surprise tuition bill leaves him thousands of dollars in the hole, he's forced to think outside of the box, convincing his three roommates that they can make a killing exploiting the gullible church crowd. The guys start a sham charity and begin campaigning across the country, raising funds for a cause as fake as their message. But when the sweet tour manager, oh, she's so sweet, Callie, the object of Sam's affections, discovers their ruse, it's Sam's moment, alone in the spotlight, to decide what he really believes. Which is probably himself. Believe me. Get it? Anyways.
That makes sense, actually.
Yeah, I know.
So are we going to ruin the ending for them?
No, we're not going to ruin the ending for them. All right, so I will go first. Because this is... first time I saw this, I was super disappointed in this movie. Because, as I said, the documentaries they made were so good. And you're like, these guys make a film, like, they're going to do something different. They did. I'll give them that. They did do something different. They just didn't execute it right. That's the real problem here. The premise is on paper is interesting.
I think they were trying to be artistic, really.
There was some artistic,
philosophical with their ending.
With the ending, with the
whole thing.
Hold on. We gotta do some pauses first. All right. The original concept with non-believers pretending to be believers to trick real believers out of their money.
Yeah.
Original. I mean, not original in the real world. It happens all the time. But in the movie world, original. Yes, concept not really tackled. So there were some really good jokes, like Jesus not actually walking on water. That was pretty funny. How to be a Christian. When they're talking about when to pray, when not to pray. If it's just dessert, just be on the safe side and pray. And cross-dressing. It's a new clothing line.
It's a Christian clothing.
It's a Christian clothing line called cross-dressing, and it's pretty funny. Yes. But yeah, so that's really the most of the positives I had.
I can't really read my notes because it's just going to give away the ending, because that's all my notes were about.
All just about the ending? Well, let's talk about the first hour and 20 minutes, and then we can talk about the last 10 minutes.
I mean, it was good. I liked, like you said, the concept was very original, and I think it's something that's needed because Christians can be. I mean, obviously, a lot of people.
Wolf in sheep's clothing.
Well, yeah. I think people can be too stingy and never give their money to anything.
I do think some people just call others wolf and. Well, yes, but I was trying not to get into this ending that you keep on.
I'm not saying anything about the ending. All I was saying was that some people can be too stingy and not give ever.
Yes, not tithe, not anything. Yes, I understand.
But at the same time, you really can't just give your money to anything and be like, oh, well, I'm doing my Christian duty because I paid money to some organization that I don't even know what's...
Don't be stupid and not give any money, because that's I mean, it sounds smart in a world sense not to give money to church, yes. But as a Christian and as a believer in Christ and as somebody who wants God to bless them, it's really dumb. So don't be stupid and just not give money.
Just know.
But at the same time, don't be really dumb and just give your money to anybody who says they're a Christian, this is their cause, especially televangelists.
Obviously tithe, because if you're part of a church, you believe in that church, you know what's going on. Tithe
well, we'd hope you believe in the church you go to, yes.
But... Just
don't be
randomly donate to things you don't know what it is.
But hold on, let me finish. Don't be dumb and not give your money at all, and don't be dumb and give your money to anybody. Be smart and give your money. Give the money you're going to give to either your church. Give it to a ministry you believe in that it's actually doing the right thing, and isn't it like a sham charity? I guess in this case, like the movie's case. Just don't be dumb. But anyways, what were we getting at? Oh yeah, so
That was the point. I mean, not the point of the movie, but that was the part of the story that I agreed with, that I think was a good message, and
because when he realized how easy it is, and it really is just that easy to get money out of Christians by. And you see it all the time on Facebook. There's a ton of dumb Christians on Facebook. It's ridiculous, and it's mostly older people, just because they don't know any better. Like, share this picture if you love Jesus, or comment with amen if you believe Christ is alive today. Like, it's just, but people are doing it, and they're being legitimate. Like, they really do. Like, I believe Christ is alive today. Like, but I don't go commenting amen because I know that post is just seeking attention. I understand what that page and that post is doing, so I don't buy into that garbage. But I understand, like, so anyways, I feel like we're getting off track because of
the story. It does a great job of showing how fake Christians can be.
Yes,
and how
definitely,
because it does mention how they're just giving kind of to assuage their own guilt, and that's not a good motivation to give either.
No.
So yeah, in that sense, that was good. This category probably got the highest score for me because of.
Don't give your score yet. We will talk about the ending.
I'm just saying because it does bring out some issues that I think Christians should be aware of.
Yeah. Before we get into the ending, which we'll give a spoiler warning, you can skip it if you really want to watch this movie, which I do suggest watching.
You don't have to give the ending.
Well, no, I suggest watching this movie once, by the way. So if you are planning on watching it once, like I'm going to suggest, then skip the spoilers that we're going to have. But anyways, so before we get into that, So the fake Christian movie within this movie, I think it was called Saving Grace, which, by the way, is hilarious. There's a movie that's coming out, or it might have already come out, by Rossetti Productions called Saving Faith.
That girl's got more of her mama's spirit than she'll ever know.
Ladies and gentlemen.
What are you doing?
Stepping out in faith, darling.
Very ironic. It was made 2 years after this movie. I don't know if he got it from this movie. He thought, that's a great idea.
No,
because within this movie, there's a movie called
obviously the girl
Saving Grace is it's a joke in the movie about Christian movies in general. And Lecrae plays a doctor.
I don't even know where to begin. Begin with God. You're never going to save grace if you don't let grace save you.
Before you can save grace, you have to let grace save you.
Yes, he says that. Lecrae says that to another man, and then the man starts crying, and they hug. But the problem with that, it was in the wrong place of the movie. It was during a huge dramatic. It was during a big emotional, dramatic part of the movie. It wasn't like it should have been more towards the beginning of the movie.
When they're still trying to make fun of Christians, basically.
Yeah, when it was pretty funny. Like, they could have watched it and been like, "This is Christian cinema," like something like that. But it was near the end of the movie, and it was actually Callie, the sweet tour manager, who watched.
Well, because she's realizing the hypocrisy of Christians.
Is that what's going on right there? Because, well, okay, the tone of it though was funny, but it was during a time where the audience isn't like really laughing, so it was just an awkward placement of that. Well,
she was upset about Sam's
about finding out his ruse.
And then she goes to see this movie, and she's listening to kids in the line talking about how awesome Sam is and stuff. Then she goes to this movie where, again, it's just
generic Christian cinema,
Christian crap.
Yes,
and
that
she's
you see
like,
at
and so
Lifeway
she
on
is
the
upset
shelf.
with Christians and with Sam, because Sam is he's
tricking all of these idiot Christians. That's what he's doing. He's tricking Christians who are idiots, who don't know any better.
And she was like, I'm one of those Christians.
Yeah. Well, I think she's growing as a character. She's realizing that I was one of those people.
I think that's why they did put it there, because it helped with her, like.
I get that, but the fact that it was funny, I guess, is
maybe
what
you just thought.
I just thought it was out of, like, it should have been earlier in the movie. Maybe they could have had another fake Christian movie later, and she watched that, and maybe it was more serious and not so hilarious. I mean, maybe
you are really probably the only one who thinks that line is hilarious.
I thought that entire fake movie was hilarious. I'm not the only one.
It was like a 5-second
The Say Goodnight Kevin review also agreed. So it's not just me. I'm not the only one. Anyways, so spoiler alert. If you want to skip the spoilers, click here on the screen right there. Okay, so the end of the movie, the last like 15-20 minutes was a huge mess. This movie was like an hour and a half. Yes, it was an hour and a half. The first hour and 10 minutes were pretty cohesive. You knew what was going on. Even if it wasn't the most amazing thing ever, well, everything up to that point had made sense for everybody. And then the ending of the movie the entire climax and resolution would you like to explain the climax and the resolution? Because I can't.
What? There was no resolution.
Okay,
There's
so
no resolution.
they
The
find
climax
out.
is they find out they're stealing from
They
him.
find out that
The-
Sam, Baker, Matt. I don't know all their names are. I just know
Just
Sam
three
and
of them.
Baker. Well, there's 4 of them. You got the black guy as well.
Oh yeah.
I just don't know what his name is. That sounds racist, the black guy. But I just don't know what his name is
Well, I
because
don't know the
they're not
other
that
guy
they're
either.
not super memorable. But yes, they find out that these 4 guys the whole time have been stealing money. I forgot who it was. I think it was the
worship pastor.
worship pastor who
He's a complete jerk.
he was a complete jerk.
Yeah, don't do
And
that in characters.
well, no, I think it's good to mention that at one point in the movie, this is another one of those funny jokes where he talks about his worship music. He's like,
put that in.
isn't it all about Jesus? He's like, so what are all those other words doing in the song? And you see up on the screen, it says Jesus, 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 Jesus times 16. And it's just he's just Jesus, Jesus. The whole song is just Jesus, 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 and it's hilarious. It's a good time. But yeah, so he finds out that they've been stealing money because he's a jerk and he's been suspecting from day
yes.
one that something's up.
So basically, instead of like doing the honorable thing, like calling the police or whatever, basically he just blackmails them.
Mm-hmm.
And they in turn go to the head director because the the worship
Mm-hmm.
pastor has been wanting to be in charge of this forever, and he was jealous that Sam got to be in charge of it.
He was jealous that they got so popular so quick, and he's not as popular as
Yeah.
them, and he's like
So
a
they
rock
go to
star or whatever, you know?
the director of the organization that's helping Sam do all this
Mm-hmm.
fundraising, and the director of the organization steals the money, which they
Well,
don't.
no. They
make
don't
very
say.
Clear.
Yeah, they don't really
say that.
There's just that one shot of like his closet, and he has money in
He
the
has the
closet
money
as
in
well.
the closet.
So that's why the director doesn't turn them into the police because he basically
Because
takes
he's
it to the
also-
director essentially.
Yeah.
And the director's like, no, I don't want to do this because I went to a church. And he has a legitimate story about how he went to church and the church fell apart when they found out
When
something
the
was
image
going.
was destroyed.
When the image was destroyed at the church. So you understand why his motivation at that point, but then you find out he's stealing money too.
Which they never say. They just show the bag.
They just show the bag in his closet.
And it's like dramatic and like pushing.
Yeah. So you know that he's also doing it, but it's not blatantly said, which is
then-
fine, by the way.
And then Sam goes out to do his last like fundraising
Mm-hmm.
thing, and you're all like, oh, he's gonna confess, he's gonna come clean, yada
Yeah.
yada yada, and get the girl.
Well, I don't care if he gets the girl, honestly.
Whatever.
At
I'm
that
just
point,
saying,
I didn't care.
I'm just saying he goes out there,
And that's how the movie
starts his speech, and it just ends.
just ends.
You don't know what he does.
Almost like we were missing like 10 minutes of movie.
Yeah.
It felt like we were missing another
Like
10 minutes of
you
movie.
can decide whether Sam confesses, but the way he started his speech, it didn't really.
He
seem
wasn't
he
going
wasn't
to.
going to.
No, I think they were just going to finish the tour, honestly. Well, I
Finish
think
stealing money.
what should have happened is, okay, so no, they don't turn him into the police. I think they should have. I get that. In real life, they would have.
Yeah.
But, okay, so they don't turn him into the police. They should have, like, I guess this might have been kind of cliche Christian to force them to work on the tour for free, but not on stage. I guess, but the entire stage was them.
They were the tour.
They were the tour, I guess, huh? They couldn't have
Yeah.
anybody else do it.
No, it again showed how the guy cared more about appearances than about the truth.
It's
than about
true, and that's a
honesty.
lot of churches are
Yeah,
like that.
a lot
There's-
of Christians are like that.
Yes. Definitely a lot of Christians. That's why when you go to church, you ask somebody how they're doing, they say fine. Everyone's fine at the church today, man. The pastor's doing his job. The pastor's on point when everybody at church says that they're fine.
Yeah.
I'm just saying. Then again, I don't like when random people just ask me how. Like, I'm not going to just tell random people.
Exactly. That's
Yeah.
why you get involved in your church.
Yeah,
You
yeah,
get to
yeah.
know people.
And you talk to people you actually care about, you know, and you
You
get to
small
know.
groups,
Yeah.
you things. Anyways.
You get involved with the church that's real, though. Not church that's all about money. Not a church that's all
Image.
about image. Not a church that its leadership just puts chokehold on everything else and nothing can grow in the church. There's churches like that. I can't name names, but these are churches that exist. I've been to a few of these. So,
But also remember that.
but there's
churches-
also really good churches.
No, also remember that churches are full of people and people aren't perfect.
It is. You're right. I agree. You have to find a church that's growing
So-
and is doing the right thing.
That was our sermon.
Yes, that's our sermon. Sorry, but yeah, spoiler. Okay, the last 20 minutes is really just a mess of plot holes and questions.
Yes.
And I guess we kind of did cover Christian nutritional value. When we get there, you kind of heard part of what we're going to say anyway. So, the story I did give a 9 out of 15.
I gave it an 8 out of 15.
Okay, I think the premise was really
The idea of the movie is good.
yes. The idea of the movie is really good. So, it's a good idea, and it just wasn't. The last 20 minutes is really what ruins the story.
If the dessert is part of the meal, it's probably already been prayed for. If the dessert is the meal, best bet's to pray for it.
Our next category is characters.
I was just going to say my favorite character in this is Ron Swanson from Parks and Rec.
Ron Swanson from Parks and Rec is in this movie, and he's basically Ron Swanson. Like, if
A little more
Parks and Rec
depressed Ron
season 7 had never happened, you could have assumed this is what Ron Swanson did after the Parks Department.
Pretty much.
You could have. If season 7 of Parks and Rec had never happened, this is what Ron Swanson does after he becomes a...
college professor.
Is he a college professor? I thought
yeah.
he was in charge. He told
like
the dude
the
about his
dean.
tuition, so he had some position of authority at the at the college.
Right.
But yeah, and but Ron Swanson, yes, he is. He's a pretty good part of this movie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
My favorite
He's
character.
just Ron Swanson.
Other than that, it's cheesy kind of Christian acting. I mean, it wasn't.
Some of
too
the acting
bad.
was pretty good.
Yeah, the main character,
Yeah.
he was pretty good.
Sam. Yeah, Sam was in the movie Chronicle, which is a great movie, and I have it up here. Is the best found footage film ever. He's not on the cover, but trust me, Sam is the main character of this film as well. And his name's not Sam, but the actor, and he's really good in this movie. So, if you've seen Chronicle, same guy. He's great. He's great.
I forget was it.
I don't like his character though. I like the
No,
actor.
yeah.
His character is terrible, and I don't. Okay, so a movie's usually supposed to set up a character, give you a reason to root for them. So Sam in this case doesn't have money to afford college. That's why they go on this sham of stealing money from Christians.
It's basically the spoiled rich kid who doesn't get exactly what he wants, so he figures out a cheating way.
Yeah, and you're supposed to be able, but they don't give you any reason to root for him. He's not like he's not like helping people or anything along the way while stealing money. So I guess it's kind of like real life. Like he's a real character, but should he be the lead character in a movie, or I don't know. It feels like all the 4 main characters are all kind of side characters, and there was no lead character. They all felt like side characters to each other. Sam was pushed in the forefront.
He was the lead character, but you.
I'm saying he wasn't he's probably not the character should have been in the lead. The black guy, honestly, probably should have been in the lead.
Because he didn't really want to do it the whole time?
Well, yeah, but okay, so he goes into it, like, I hate that I don't know his name, but he goes into it with them, like, reluctantly, but he goes in. But then at the end, he dips out. He's like, guys, I can't do this anymore. Like, that's the character who probably should have been the lead of this movie. The character. I didn't say the actor. I don't know if the actor could have handled it.
Yeah.
He could have been the lead of the movie, following his friend Sam and his friend Baker, who seems to just go along with whatever, and the other rich guy who's just a jerk. Mm-hmm. Yeah. He could have just gone in with them, and that should have been. He probably should have been the lead, but it wasn't. It felt like they picked the wrong character, and so it made the movie rougher than what it should have been. And still could have had the same message, by the way. Mm-hmm. He could have gone to church with Sam, and Sam's like, I have a great idea, and he's like, that's not a good idea. Nothing like that. Anyways, so Baker is the only character I think I really liked.
Baker was funny.
He introduced cross-dressing, which is an instant classic.
We start a clothing line, and we're gonna call it cross-dressing.
So the first time I watched this, not the main characters, but the side characters felt like fake Christians playing real Christians. And that might be true. All the actors who are playing the other Christians in this movie may be fake.
Because they were so obviously supposed to be fake Christians anyways.
Well, I'm saying that if... Callie even felt like a fake Christian is my point. Callie's not a fake Christian.
Okay.
The worship pastor felt like a fake Christian.
Because he was a fake Christian, even in the movie. Like, he was very, very fake. I think that was the point.
But he thought he was a real Christian.
Well, yeah, fake Christians do think they're real.
I know, but I'm saying that everybody, including Callie, felt like a fake Christian. It's okay that the director and the worship pastor felt like a fake Christian. You're right. Because they were, in the end. So it just felt like something was a little bit off with them. But it also felt like something was off with Callie, and Callie's not a fake Christian. That's my point. Everybody
I didn't get
felt
that
like
about Callie.
I felt it. Well, and I said this, but the second time I watched it, it didn't feel like that as much. Probably because I knew how the movie was going to play out. But I don't know. And then Callie the second time did feel a little bit more real. Probably because I knew she wasn't going to be a fake Christian. So I don't know. But the first time I watched it, like even before I knew what was going to happen, I felt like all of them were. I felt like even Callie. I'm like, why does it feel like everyone here isn't like no one in real life is playing like is actually a Christian? But anyways, yeah. And there's no one for the audience to latch on and root for. I already said that.
Yeah.
Well, do you have anything else to add? I just went on a rant.
No,
nothing else. Everything you agree with?
Yeah.
All right. My final score for characters is a 3 out of 10.
I gave it a 6.
Wow, that's a high score.
I'm not sure why, but
I'm not sure why either.
If the dessert is part of the meal, it's probably already been prayed for. If the dessert is the meal, best bets to pray for.
The next category is music.
That it was all generic Christian pop. Like, it was bad Christian pop on purpose.
Was it Christian pop?
Yes. or the music that I remember.
There was like a music during a montage where they were like drinking and stuff in the middle of the movie. I didn't think it was Christian music.
Well, I'm sure that one wasn't Christian.
It still felt off though. The music choices in this movie felt all off, all wrong. It was like the genre, it was wrong. The music was, I don't know. It just all felt off. I don't know if that was on purpose, and that was the artistic thing we were talking about earlier, where they're purposely trying to make everything seem off. But when nothing in the movie feels right, and everything feels off, it's not a comfortable experience. Yeah. There's nothing that you're like, they didn't give you a sense of comfort and then go into discomfort. It was like the entire time was uncomfortable. And I'm not sure if it was like just purpose or not on purpose, because even though I've looked into this movie, they didn't really like announce that or anything. Like the director, nobody. So
I don't know.
When we're not sure what to think about your movie and it seems to be universally agreed upon, I don't know what to say.
They didn't do a good job.
Yeah, if it was their purpose, they didn't do it right, and that's fine. It's their first narrative debut. If their next movie is just as poorly executed as this movie, then they probably should rethink going back to documentaries, because those were really good, and those were a bit more blatant and in your face because there was a purpose behind them, but much better. Anyway, so there's no good music, the wrong music in the wrong places. It all fell off, and I was surprised by the lack of any Lecrae songs in this movie, despite Lecrae being in the movie.
Maybe he didn't really want his music.
But he was in the movie. No, I'm just saying, like, it was just just weird that there's no Lecrae music. Like, he didn't have to make a song for the movie. Maybe he just couldn't afford it. I don't know. They were probably on a tight budget, I'd imagine. They shot this entire thing in 30 days. I remember reading that, really? Which is kind of short for a movie. But yeah. So my final score for music is a 1 out of 10.
I gave it a 5.
You are really generous.
If the dessert is part of the meal, it's probably already been prayed for. If the dessert is the meal, best bet's to pray for it.
The next category is Christian Nutritional Value. All right, we kind of talked over this. If you saw our spoilers in the story section, we've mostly talked about the Christian Nutritional Value, and it would be beating a dead horse. And Arlen K said the only thing worse than beating a dead horse is betting on one, so we shouldn't do that either. But yes, alright, so the movie, will cut it down and make it basic here. It really shows how easily exploitable Christians are. But then it gives no consequence in this movie to the people who do the exploitation, which is a bit too close to reality. Yeah. So, plus that it is reality, but a minus at the same time, there's no consequence at all. So it does suck.
Well, God will have a consequence for them, but...
Yeah, believe me too, where everyone dies and we see God rain his wrath on. But yes, I mean, so it's a plus and a minus. But the real minus, in my opinion, was there was cussing. And it was unnecessary at certain points in the movie. It was just like, why? And I guess in real life, I ask that question a lot when people cuss. It's like, do you not have any other words you can use? Are you that dumb? It happens. People just cuss unnecessarily. I'm talking about like out in public, Not when not even when they're angry. They're just talking. So it was kind of like that in this movie. There was a point where they're angry and there was some cussing. That kind of fit. But there's other places where there's like a random word and you're like, I guess it's like real life, It just doesn't make any sense. In movie though, you have the liberty of not, everything doesn't have to be so, I don't know.
Yeah, I guess they were just trying to show they were.
But we're talking Christian Nutritional Value, and we're talking about if you're showing this to, it's a Christian. You go into it thinking it's a Christian movie, and you think it would be mostly safe for the family, and it's not. All right, this movie is not intended for anyone under teenager, and even
Yeah, I'd say so.
Yeah.
Well, and the reason
don't show Believe Me to your kids is really
the reason.
Honestly, don't.
I took off points for Christian Nutrition was because yes, they did, like you said, they had all the setup for the good movie, but there was no payoff. There was no consequences.
Exactly. There was setup and no payoff. Yeah. Oh, you're learning. There was all setup and no payoff. It's exactly what it was. That's why the ending felt wrong. There was no payoff to anything. Yeah. It just showed that, I don't know, and maybe...
And like I said, maybe that was the point. Maybe they were trying to show, people do get away with it.
Yeah.
So be careful.
And I get that, and that's good. It's just, I don't know, they could have gone about it in a better way. Yeah. I am not them. I did not have the inspiration to make this movie. I cannot tell you exactly how they could do that. Yeah. If I sat down and thought about it, I probably could, but I haven't really sat down and thought about how to make Believe Me a better movie, because I feel like that's kind of a waste of time. But anyways, my final score for Christian Nutritional Value is a 7 out of 15.
Also, sorry, I did want to mention this. there's a point where Sam, where the black friend is saying, why are we doing this to people? We're lying to people. We're hurting them. And Sam was like, no.
That's why I mean he should have been the lead character.
No,
Sorry,
they
ahead.
want this. We're giving them, as long as we're giving them some sort of hope, what does it matter? And it was almost like true, like Christians don't really care as long as they're doing something or they're hoping in
something. As long
something.
as they feel good about it.
As long as they feel good.
As long as they
about it.
follow their heart and
Yeah.
let fate decide.
And that was just really hard because it's true. I'm sure there are a lot of Christians that are like that, but that shouldn't be the way that we are.
Yeah.
And I guess it was good because it was exposing that, but at the same time, it was almost like a good thing. It was almost like that was Sam's redeeming. Well, he was just doing this and he was helping people.
I feel like that was just an excuse to make him feel good about what
Well,
he's
it was
doing,
his
which
excuse.
is steal
But
money.
it was confusing though because you were like, are they trying to say that?
Because they did even kind of like, he's like, look guys, we are giving money to charity, but we're taking some off the top for ourselves.
Yeah.
Because they really were raising money for this charity, by the way, that they made up. So they never really explained about where this money's actually going to, because what was the charity for orphans in Africa, or what?
Well, wasn't it Wells?
Yeah, make Africa well, and it was a pun or something like that. I don't know. But anyways, so it was a fake charity. So was it all the money going to them, or were they actually sending to a charity? Why didn't they never told us what charity they were sending any money to?
No, that was actually...
That Wells in Africa was one that they made up.
Well, the money that they were giving to the director actually went to something.
Was supposed to go to a charity.
Supposed to go to some sort of
And director
charity.
was maybe cashing it all?
Maybe the director was taking
Maybe,
it.
so maybe there was no money going to any charity.
But they didn't know that.
And the director probably didn't care.
I don't know.
Yeah.
They didn't explain
Anyways,
it
my Christian nutritional score is a 7 out of 15.
I had a 7 out of 15.
Yeah, 7 out of 15 as well.
Yep.
Oh, we actually agreed on something. Shake hands.
God may love you, but does he like you?
Our final score for Believe Me is a 46 out of 100. We do not recommend it for anyone under teenagerhood.
I'd only recommend for Christians to watch this movie to kind of open their eyes a little bit.
Yes, it's worth a one-time watch. If you can borrow it, if you can watch it on demand or something, it's worth a couple bucks.
Yeah.
It's worth like $2-3 to watch. Even though we did knock it a lot, it's thought provoking. It does make you think. It's not, and I give it that's probably its best. It's probably its most redeeming factor. It is funny in some places, but it's really thought provoking. It makes you. It sparked this discussion between us to talk about all this. Yeah. Whereas such a movie such as Black Cauldron didn't really spark any real discussion about anything, Christian wise. So it does have that going for it. But yeah, so 46 out of 100.
You should watch it and let us know what you think.
Yes, really should. I would love to. Actually, this is one movie. Legitimately, if you leave comments, I would like to read them all. Some people say, like, leave a comment. I love reading them. They're lying to you. This time, I'm being legitimate. Notice I usually don't ask because I usually don't care. But if you... Oh, I'm serious. Most people leave comments and they're just like, why don't you do this? Or why don't you... Dude, like, all right.
I care what you think.
You care. Mary will read all of your comments. But for this one, I legitimately do care what your comments are on this movie. This is a movie that I think has more to talk about than other movies that we've reviewed so far. So leave your comments below. Stay tuned. Stay tuned as next time we review Voyage of the Dawn Treader. We finish off the Narnia trilogy of films. There should be more movies, and they're talking about making more, but we'll get there when we get there.
They've been talking for years.
Yeah, we'll talk about that when we review this. But anyways, next time, Voyage of the Dawn Treader, released 2010 by Disney. So stay tuned and subscribe, and bye.